So welcome everyone to the 6th episode of my podcast. She is the Chief Operating Officer for the Actuarial Insurance and Banking team.
Being a partner in a consulting firm, you effectively become sort of an owner as well. Profitability, when you run a business,
Yes.
it will be high on the agenda. I do feel the responsibility in terms of looking after the team. I like to think, what's the next thing coming?
So welcome everyone to the 6th episode of my podcast, Statistically Speaking with Darshika. So today we have a very special guest with us, Cherry Chan. Thank you for making it to the podcast. We really appreciate your time. So Cherry Chan, I work with Cherry Chan at the moment at Deloitte. She is the Chief Operating Officer for the Actuarial Insurance and Banking team at Deloitte. She's also the partner for the General Insurance team. Prior to that, Cherry worked at Barnett Waddingham as partner for 10 years. Interestingly, she also started her career at Deloitte.
Thank you.
Cherry is the finalist for Actuary of the Year 2024 in the Women in Insurance Awards. So many congratulations on that.
Thank you, Darshika. And actually, so are you.
Thank
so
you.
Congratulations on that too.
Thank you, Cherry. And I'm very excited to talk to you today.
Thank you for having me anyway.
No, it's such a pleasure because your experience is so unique, and we are going to cover a lot of that as we discuss this. We discuss this interview. Before we begin, I just want to get to know you a little bit better, right? When we look at you as partner, we think, oh my God, you have had such a wonderful journey. But how did you get into the actuarial profession in the first place?
Probably need to go back to a little bit, a few more years back. I think I've always been interested in maths and actually, good at maths since I was in secondary school.
Yeah.
But also I'm quite practical as well. I was thinking of, what do I want to do when I come out of university? And I don't want to do just a very theoretical maths degree. So I looked into what are the practical subjects. I did look at engineering as well.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Actually, I quite like to build things with my hands. So I looked at product engineering, and then someone was telling me, you have to work in factories. And I was like, that's not
so
very
fun.
appealing. So I was like, I better look for a job. And coming from a Asian Chinese background, all our parents will push us into like, you need to be a professional.
Yes.
Right?
I completely understand that.
So lawyers, accountants,
doctors.
Doctors, top of the list. I can't be a doctor. I'm scared of blood. So actually my parents did not know about actuarial. All they pushed were like, we're not accountants, kind of financial services in Hong Kong. But actually when I came over to UK when I was 17.
Oh, okay.
And I went to a local school in Essex. So,
Wow.
Claim to be a little bit of Essex girl, but I don't have the accent. However, it was at that time I was living with an older lady, and she did mention, you're good at maths, maybe you should consider actuarial. And at first I heard, what was actuarial? What's actuary? Archery? I thought she meant archery first. I was like, what was that? But then I looked into it, and actually coincidentally, some of my relatives came from Hong Kong, and they actually heard of actuaries, and they was like, oh, there are not that many actuaries in Hong Kong. And obviously they said, well, it's very well paid too. It's like, oh, okay.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. So look into that, and I found London School of Economics, they do a very good actuarial science degree at that time, and so I looked into London School of Economics, and it's a very good school. So it was between that and maths, and London School of Economics won. And luckily I got into it as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that was the end of deciding whether I want to be an actuary or not, because I've done this actuarial science degree, I need to qualify.
No, once you're into it,
right.
I completely
understand.
understand. So you mentioned your background and how difficult it is. I mean, as an Asian, when you do come from, cultures really matter. It's like you're ingrained with this idea that, okay, you only need to do a certain degree. And actuarial is quite unique in that sense. So was it tough convincing? Because I know that as Asians, at least for me, I need to convince my parents that I'm doing this. Did you also have to do that at 17 when you moved countries? Was that tough?
I actually don't remember the convincing part. I guess my parents were like 5,000 miles away.
I guess that helped.
So that helped. And I did discuss with them the options. And of course, being, actuary is a professional
Exactly, yeah.
qualification. I don't think I need a lot of convincing.
I understand. Yeah, if you were doing like, if you said, I need to be a guitarist, that would need a lot of convincing.
Or doing anything non-financial
Yes.
related, I would get year full of that.
Yeah. Also, when you decided that, okay, actuarial science is highly paid, it's quite a coveted degree, and, you make a real impact in, the corporate world. But did you, at that, like you said, there was no further discussion, you just wanted to, now qualify and you've gotten into the profession. But at what point did you feel that, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the next 40 years of my life? I'm going to, start as a grad.
Very good question.
Was there a point where you felt like that?
I have always, when I first graduated, I've always thought, okay, let me qualify first, and then let me see what else I can do. But then I qualified, and I cannot think of anything else I want to do. So it's by, reason of deduction, like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Let's carry on.
That's a pretty good way of doing it, and that's how I ended up into it as well. Like, I was like, I don't want to do accounting, I don't want to do a CFA or like stock trading or any of them. Let's just do this. This sounds interesting, so I completely understand. But you've always been in consulting. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you've always been in consulting, and as an actuary, you could have gone into any other field, right? You could have been in an insurance company, in a reinsurance company, and so forth. But how did you know that consulting is something that you enjoy more? Was there a certain reason why you went ahead with that?
I did had actually, as you said, maybe go back a little bit, because I joined a company called Bacon & Woodrow, and actually by chance, I didn't know this when I joined, they got bought by Deloitte, and a couple, maybe a year or 2 years into it, and so, I became a Deloitte graduate employee by chance.
Wow.
I did think a lot of things in my life happened a little bit by chance.
Yeah.
And so, when I came out of Deloitte, I joined Marsh, but actually at that time I also looked into the industry. However, at that time it feels like Marsh was offering me something different, and it was do more of the risk consulting. And actually, at that time I was in Moscow for like 5 times in a year doing some random risk management project.
That sounds like an interesting job.
That's tough as well. But afterwards, I did went back to, as you said, Barnett Waddingham. I was there for 14 years and a partner for 10. It took me back to a more traditional actuarial consulting environment. But because it was a smaller companies, actually I get to do a lot more of different variety of work. I'm starting to do a lot more marketing myself, thinking about business development, and obviously managing the team as well, and how do we grow the team or grow the business. It wasn't smooth sailing. It was a tough 10 years, but now I think I've learned a lot. And even though some people might say we do year-end reserving year on year with, even with the same clients, different issues will pop up. And I feel like in consulting environment, I don't know about the industry, but certainly consulting environments keeping me interested in what I can learn.
Yeah.
And I think thinking back, the industry has changed a lot as well with the introduction of Solvency II, and probably a few years ago IFRS 17. So it keeps us on the toes, on our toes. Try to make sure we are learning.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that in consulting, I think before I left Barnett Waddingham a few years before, I was doing more of the leadership style. How do we grow the team? I'm more in that area now. I really like looking after my team, developing them, keeping them interested.
We're always told that, the more you grow in your career, you're going to do less technical work and you're going to do more leadership style work. And more so for you, like you mentioned, as a consulting actuary, you don't just have to kind of keep your team growing, keep the team interested, and make sure your team is enjoying the work, but also get work, right? It's also the business development side of it, where the team is growing. What do you want the niche to be? What do you want insurers and clients to hire, in our case Deloitte, for? So how was that journey like? Did you find that tough, of going and selling what we do?
I wouldn't call it selling. I think sometimes it's just having conversations. I am introvert. I don't like to go out, sell things, and I think if people on the other side know, oh, Cherry is selling things, they will run away, right? They run them out. And I think I'm actually interested in what people are doing. I like, talking to people, understanding, maybe their background, the stories, what they're doing. And because I like to think about all these ideas. I get told, Cherry, you have all these ideas, but, focus. But I think that's the way I am. I can't change it. I like to think, what's the next thing coming? What are the trends? And those are the things that interest me. And so I think consultancy environment let me develop that, go to a lot of different conferences, and not just actuarial conferences, but, more insure tech. And we, as Deloitte, has other partners who talk to like CFOs, CEOs, and it's interesting to see what they take back from it. What are people concerned about? And I try to look maybe always a few years ahead, and maybe that's too far for clients sometimes.
I completely understand, and I'm sure it's, even if you're having conversations, so how I'm very new to this. I'm only 6 years into this, but I feel there are two ways, right? There's this inbound business where either the client is coming directly to you that, hey, I need help, or an internal team within the company will say, hey, I need you to help with something. Or there is outbound, right, where you're going and reaching out to someone blank slate and starting the conversation from scratch. And like you said, you don't want to appear to, like, oh, you're selling something, because then the client is not going to be interested. It has to be that it basically is that you're supporting them on the journey, right? But while doing that, have you had conversations where it was difficult to retain the client's attention? Have you been in meetings where you're like, oh my God, how do I say what I have to and still retain the client's attention? Has there been situations like that?
Yes, certainly we have a few difficult conversations. Usually is there's some issues that we need to discuss, and they might have a different view. But I think be transparent would be one of the things that I would always say, because if you try to hide something, the client can see through you. Just
it's
be
all
honest
people at the end of the day, right? We're dealing with people. They can see through.
And building that rapport with the client is very important. So I used to have some clients who's like with us for like 10 years, and you can have a very open and honest relationship with them.
I think that's a win-win for both the client and us, right? Because they get what they want and we get good work as well. So I completely understand that. So I'm hearing a few things from your day, right? There's this business development and client relationship angle. There is that team and leadership angle where you're deciding the future of the team, the actuarial team. There is also relationships with other, other parts of the industry in conferences and the marketing, like attending and understanding the industry trends. So is that what a typical day for you is? What is a typical day in your life?
maybe I'll talk about typical week, typical day. I think, as I said before, my day varies a lot. Like sometimes it will just be business development, go and meet different people. Sometimes on the project where you would then review what your team has done, and you spend some time refining the message. I think most of my client work will be refining what are the key message we want to convey with the client, telling that, making this crystal clear. And as you said, if we have difficult conversations, then we need to be absolutely clear. We are right as well.
Yes, we become the judgment is correct.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure our numbers are correct. Have you used the right data? Making sure of that. Other days might be thinking, what are our team doing? What can we tell the world about how great my team is? What things we are doing that is actually we want to share with other people? Because if it's good, then if I think it's good, I would want to share with people, right? And they might have the same issues that we can help them with.
Yeah. That's amazing, and that sounds so interesting. Like I feel I can't wait, for all those things, to do all those things.
I'm sure we'll be asking you to help.
I have a question regarding, is also looking at profitability and what the team's numbers are part of your job as well. And is it difficult to manage? I'm sure, because in consulting, not just for any one company, for all companies, there are periods where you're extremely busy and all your resources are busy. And there are periods where not all of your resources are busy, and then you kind of, feel that, okay, I need to maybe sell more, we need more projects in the pipeline. So have there been situations in your career where profitability was a big part of what you did as on your daily job, or is that still part of...
Being a partner in a consulting firm, you effectively become sort of an owner as well.
Yes.
Because you own a piece of the firm. And profitability, when you run a business, it will be high on the agenda. But I think I've been quite lucky that, even in some years that we're not so profitable, there are other parts of the firm who will be.
Yes.
And I think I've been in quite a lucky environment that the firms that we are in are quite collegiate, and they understand that sometimes investments are needed.
Yeah.
And there will be reward.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
And obviously you can't keep on going as a loss-making loss-making business. But I think it goes in cycle. There will be years where your profit might be less, some will be good, and you just need to average it out. Mm-hmm. And I think I do feel the responsibility in terms of looking after the team. It's a very fine balance between, how do we keep enough revenue coming, and managing the expenses as well.
Yeah, certainly that is.
It's not it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, and then like recruitments and resignations, I'm sure that all of that is part of your agenda as well.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know how you do all of that.
And I think sometimes I feel like I'm a fireman. I'm just responsible in putting out fires.
Yeah, is it crisis management all the way? Like, do you wake up and be like, okay, I've planned my day, today I'm doing these things, it's going to be a smooth ride, and you get into work and like, oh, there's like crisis management. Are there days like that?
So I do think actually in consultancy, one of the things that some might find interesting, some might not find interesting, is how do you deal with the unexpected? Because even just in the non-consulting environment, things do pop up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think you need to train or have a very high EQ. It's like, everything will be fine. Don't worry. Even something is burning.
You need to have that conversation with yourself that, I got this.
Exactly. It will work out in the end. I have so many conversations in the past. It's like, this is not going well. Don't worry. It will be fine. Can't see how. It will be fine.
We stay positive.
Yeah.
But that's so important. I know you're saying it like in a humorous way, but I can imagine that sometimes in situations where the crisis is high, I'm sure that ethos plays a very important part. Yeah, I can imagine.
And just I think it's something that I don't know where I've picked up. It must be when I was very little at school. Someone was giving a talk and were like, how do you look at setbacks? Think of, put yourself out, with 10 years forward. If your 10-year future self look back, is that a significant event? If not,
Don't worry
about it. Yeah.
Such valuable advice. Wow. I'm so lucky I get to sit and talk to you about all of this because, these are insights that are, that only come with experience. So it's very valuable. Also, on you mentioned that, you attend conferences and all of these various activities. And I know you're very active in the market. Anytime I open LinkedIn and I look at, what are the conferences going on, Cherry Chan is very, on top of the list all the time.
That's good thing.
No, but that's a great thing because you attend all of these various conferences and your networking skills are fabulous because anytime I speak to someone they say, oh, I know Cherry Chan, I know of her. Like everyone knows Cherry. How is this happening?
Because Cherry is easy to remember.
I'm sure it's not just that.
My mom gave me that name.
Yeah, really? Oh, that's such a nice thing. But how do you do that? Like along with, because I'm sure there's so much going on at work, there's crisis management, there's so much. And how do you kind of make sure that you're following industry trends and you're kind of present in all of these networking opportunities?
Yeah, I think I'm quite lucky in terms of I can't do everything myself. As you said, we only have 24 hours. You have 24, I have 24. I have to rely on a good team around me. So, I think even William, Deloitte, everyone around me is, help me deliver a lot of the work, manage a lot of the clients very well. Business development, I'm not the only one doing it.
Right.
I might be the face of it, but there's a team behind. Like, okay, what are the trends? What do we need to talk about? There's,
Right.
a lot. I do have a lot of support, so thank you for everyone. Supported me in the past and now.
Yeah.
And my husband.
I can imagine. I mean, no, I work, so for anyone who's listening, I work with Cherry very, very closely at Deloitte. I think, yeah, you're the closest partner that I worked with at Deloitte. And it's lovely working with you because you kind of balance the fact that, okay, I'll let you be and I'll let you do your thing. But if you need me, I'm here. So that's the perfect balance. So yeah, I can completely understand why you say that.
Yeah, because I can't micromanage every project, right?
Yeah.
I will have no life. But I do, going back to my husband part, I think I am very lucky that he's very supportive.
Oh.
Yeah.
That helps,
he does
right?
a lot to help with, when I'm busy at work, he will look after the kids.
Yeah, I can understand. The truth is that I see all these different firms, right? There's the big four firms, there are other consulting firms and all these various firms. We've seen, and these are industry reports, that as soon as it gets to very, very senior leadership positions like yourself, the number of women reduce, right? We see a lot of women nowadays in, let's say at the SC manager levels like me, or, at the grad levels as well, and even in mid-management, so to speak. But when it comes to really senior leadership, we see very less women. And when we see women like you, I mean, I'm always so inspired by you, but I mean, I don't want to pose it as a question as, you're a woman and that should change anything, but there is certainly a reason, or, there is a pattern. It's not just coincidence that there are lesser women. Why do you think that is?
I think because in UK childcare is very difficult.
Right.
And a lot of people, I don't know, just comparing back to our culture, our parents helped out a lot more.
Yes.
And there are a lot more support and help in Asia, I think, especially Hong Kong where I came from. You can hire helpers, you can have a lot of grandparent support to look after the kids. My parents helped out my brother a lot, which I'm very jealous.
I can imagine.
Especially when the kids are young.
Yeah.
So I think there are lots of different ways. I'm quite lucky in terms of that we have actually spent a lot on childcare. that allows me to, attend events after work,
Yeah.
or go on business trip. So I think not everyone have the luxury of doing that, and childcare is getting a lot more expensive now compared to like 10 years ago when I had my kids. And so I think that is definitely one of the contributing factors.
I can understand.
And even if you can put them into nursery, I'm all for flexible working. A lot of our senior directors or senior managers level, you can see that when they have kids, they need to do the school run, or they need to drop them off nursery or pick them up nursery, and the hours are quite restricted, and they're quite strict. And even some of my friends as well, from university, and they do struggle with the childcare, and that limits sometimes how much they can do.
I understand.
I still think the culture is, a lot of it is on women to look after kids a little bit.
We're far off from, I mean, we're talking about equal paternity leaves, paternity and maternity leaves now, but I still think that somehow in society the onus people have put on women.
And I do feel, is this something called the mother's guilt? Guilt, you feel, as a mother, you feel guilty for leaving your kids at home or behind. I might be wrong, but I don't think father feels the same kind of guilt, because he feels like, oh, I'm the breadwinner, I go out to work, and I think that's how the world view things. I think maybe it's the conditioning of how we see things, but I think surely things are changing for the better. I think after COVID, hours are getting more flexible, and I can see that at Deloitte as well. And I just hope that we can see more women like you who are so inspiring at the partner and senior level, so that we can, because when I go to work, I want to see leaders who are women, so that I can also feel like, okay, I belong, and I want to be in that position. I want something to be aspiring to, because I have been in meeting rooms, and I'm very junior right now, but I've been in meeting rooms where it's like 10 men and 1 woman. And most of the times when it's a senior panel, there are 10 men and 1 woman, and that woman is you, Cherry. How do you feel in those rooms? Do you feel like, what's this? Why? I definitely think that in the insurance industry it's still male dominated. But I do see there are a lot more female leaders that are more visible now as well.
Absolutely.
In a couple of weeks' time, our Women in Insurance Awards, we have all female leaders attending with guests at the awards dinner. So I think that's something to celebrate about. I think Deloitte, there are actually quite a few female partners who are wandering around on our floor as well, and they're all very nice. But I think, as you're right, things are changing. Even Alex, Alex Vinay, our other GI partner, he does a lot of the school runs as well. So I think
we're moving towards a more equal.
And I think men these days are also chipping in, doing a lot more of the school runs, sharing a lot more house responsibilities,
which is such a welcome change, right? Like, I think there's that, because of the conversations that have happened, in the last 10 years about more and more women vocalizing the fact that, hey, let's share responsibilities. It's heartening to see that things are changing now for the better. But as a woman in the corporate industry, I think I have felt sometimes, I think that's nothing to do with anyone else but maybe me, but I feel that I find a few things more difficult than my male colleagues, and I've spoken to them about this as well. Things like saying no very affirmatively, or being extremely polite in meetings, just so you want to kind of set the scene of the meeting. And sometimes I feel I don't need to do this. I just can cut to the chase. But it's a difficult. I don't know. Is it? Have you felt that way?
I think yes. I don't know whether we're trying sometimes, as you say, as a someone new into a firm or starting out the career, I think you might want to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
You're just too keen, right?
Yeah,
But
you want to learn.
yeah, you learn. But I think if you are saying yes all the time and you're overstretching, that actually is a detriment to your career, because if you say yes to too many things and if you don't deliver, and people will not ask you the next time, right? So when you say yes, you need to keep your promise and make sure you do deliver.
Yeah.
And I think you feel free to say no to me too. I heard your previous podcast.
I know, Cherry, you've been so vocal about this. You're like, Darshika, just say no to this person.
Exactly.
You don't have to say yes. And that was so nice.
And you need to keep your boundaries. Okay, you need to have some boundary. Even I look at, what's on my plate. A few years ago, I think even before I joined Deloitte, look at it. So, okay, I'm volunteer on a lot of the different things. Some working parties at the IFOA, and some. I'm now on the council, I think, as you know. What do I need to focus on? I can't do everything. Yeah. And I need to let something go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of prioritize. And I think it's so important that, I think your managers and your leaders, I think that EQ kind of seeps down. So the fact that you noticed and said, hey, you need to think about yourself. That is, that is what is needed in the corporate world, like more leaders having that EQ to support the team and understand that everyone, we're just people trying to make it work, right? So completely I'm so happy that we're working with firms who understand and support that, because that just makes me more motivated to work better, and I just feel more motivated at work. We've covered a lot of your journey. We've tried to, unpack your professional career as well. So I think we're almost reaching towards the end. It was so insightful to listen to all the, things that you mentioned, especially around, being a partner and thinking. I really liked that you mentioned that it's like running a business. It's so enterprising as well as, you have that corporate banner. So it's super interesting. Before we wrap up, we ask all our guests to give one advice to all the aspiring actuaries that you wished you had received early in your career. So what would your advice be?
Well, to me, now I'm looking towards my retirement rather than starting
Not
out
so
my journey.
soon.
I would advise, people to start thinking about pensions, savings, investment earlier. Now I look at been saving enough into my pension. I wish I had.
I'm sure that's real valuable advice that you've given us.
And I think definitely making sure you're financially sound, and I think you touch upon why women sometimes drop off. I think making sure you're financially sound, planning for the future is very important. Yeah, absolutely. I want to see more people, especially female who actually want. Some of them may not want a family, so it's okay. Some of them want family. Then how do we help them navigate that period? And also, it's a long journey, long career, right? If you take a year or two out, it actually doesn't really impact your career in the long run.
Yeah, and I think it's having, like you said, when you see, I remember there was an interview that we did at the firm where you were speaking about when you see other women, leaders who want that flexibility. I think just support that. Not just women, right? Like you said, the responsibilities are shared. So I think as much as we can support each other in that flexibility, that's the future. But that's super insightful to know.
And just one more thing, sometimes if women choose not to have kids, don't assume that they will be available more as well.
Very important.
Have a life outside of work.
And it's so important to maintain that work-life balance. I know that you put a lot of focus on that at Deloitte as well. So
I always say family first, because family and health first. Nothing's more important than that.
Absolutely. Oh, this was so lovely. Thank you so much for making the time. Thank you. It was so nice talking to you.
Please like, subscribe and share.
I will make you say that.